Russell Westbrook sacrificing, himself to go to the bench, for the Clippers might actually save their season, because when you think about it and looking at what Kawhi Leonard reacted to and how he reacted to it by saying what he said here, what you're reading, Kawhi just said that's what you got to do to win, basically. That you gotta do what's best for the team. You gotta sacrifice, and it's all about winning. You know what I'm saying? How can we improve the team? And like Kawhi said here also, he played great defense when he came in, knocked down a couple threes, knocked down a three, played good defense, and he played well in that position, with the Clippers. And that's the reason why I say I think Russell Westbrook is a true fit, for the Clippers, because I think he would benefit either way. And the fact that he did that, knowing that all four of them couldn't be in the starting lineup and it's only one basketball, you got to tip your hat to a player like that, because Russ could have been selfish. He could have been selfish to the point where he didn't want to sacrifice his time, and he could have just waited it out and, allowed the continuation of, keep losing to keep happening to the Clippers and not really worry about it. But he took the initiative, and he went after it himself, and he tried to, make an adjustment, through what he did. And the adjustment worked, because they won their first game the other night, and now they're moving on to the San Antonio Spurs, which I think they play them like back-to-back times, or at least a couple times within this week. But it was good to see. It really was, because it shows that Russ wants to win. You know what I'm saying? It shows that Russ is looking at basketball from a different perspective than what he used to. He wants to be known as a winner. He doesn't want to be known as a guy just put up all those stats and all those numbers and it equated to any. And it equaled out to nothing except, a pat on the back, or, hey, you was a good player at one time and nobody remembers you because you don't, you didn't, go after championships, and you wasn't that type of player. And Russ is really trying to rewrite history, his own history, in that way by, making the adjustment that he made, because he sees that this is an opportunity for him to win a championship. I mean, they do have 4-star players on this team. And when you got that type of firepower, you definitely have an opportunity to win if everybody stays healthy. And you definitely have an opportunity to win because you're a top 75 player, just like, Kawhi is, and along with James Harden, I believe. So, I mean, you got 3 guys on this roster that has put in the work, the time, that really lived up to, a lot of people's expectations and plus more. And even Paul George, even though he's not a top 75 player, but, Paul George is a star player in his own right. He definitely has been a big name in the league a long time, definitely have done a lot of good things for the league, but winning championships is not one of them. So, I mean, neither are the other two. Only one has won a championship is Kawhi. But with these 4-star players, it doesn't matter if they really figure it out. If they really buy in, they really can find a way to win. And when we looked at that game the other night when they played, James Harden hits the game-winning shot against Houston, which was, basically, I guess how it was supposed to go down. Hit the game-winning shot against your former team. That's definitely how it was supposed to. That's definitely how it was drawn up. It was definitely meant to be for that to happen. But that game specifically, I watched them play, through James Harden, because he is the point guard, but at the same time, I watched them get their best player involved in the game a lot more, which is Kawhi Leonard. And this is why I said they have to really run their offense through Kawhi Leonard, because when you play at Kawhi Leonard's pace, it's a little bit slower. It's not as fast as maybe Russell Westbrook would be, but at the same time, it's more effective because, like I said, he's a type of isolation player that breaks a defense down all the way. Because Kawhi only takes high efficient shots. He doesn't take bad shots. He's not going to hurt the team by taking a shot over 2 or 3 defenders just because he feel like he's confident enough to make it. He's going to make the right pass. If Kawhi has to take the shot, he will. But 99% of the time, Kawhi is going to pass to somebody who has more of a better chance of making a shot than he does at certain times. And that's just a part of the championship DNA of his game that the rest of them don't have. And the rest of them, I mean, PG, Russ and, James Harden. I mean, they don't have that championship DNA like that. Even though Kawhi is not a passer, Kawhi understands winning, and winning requires you to make the pass. Sometime in crucial situations, just because your number is called for you to get the ball in your hands at the end of the game, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to take that shot. And that's something that Greg Popovich has taught him. That's the reason why Kawhi has been a winner all his career, everywhere he's went. I mean, he's only been 3 teams, but I mean, the teams that he's been on, they've had opportunities to win a championship with him because he has winning intangibles and all that. And even though Russ may not have all the winning intangibles in the world, but this right here by Russ is an intangible. It's a winning intangible. This is something that he's grown to be. And this is, him taking a sacrifice off the bench. It really, has spoken volumes, spoken very loud to this team. And I think this team is responding very well to it. And I think they will respond very well to it. And I think that, they really are going to feed off that energy because, as I said, Russ could have been selfish. He really could have been. But he wants to win, and he wants this team to win. And I really feel like Russ cares about this team. He cares about everybody in the locker room. He really likes his stay here and with the Clippers. And, I think he's in for the long haul if possible, or as long as he can give this team. And the 2 years he signed on, for very minimal money, he took that lesser money so he can win. And he's actually showing it through his actions. So I have to give Russ a lot of credit. I'm proud of him. I'm very appreciative of that, because if it's going to help this team be a lot better, then that's what they need to do. Now, I still personally think he needs to be in the starting lineup over James Harden, in my personal opinion. But I mean, the fact that he took this first step is definitely going to go a long way for the Clippers. And maybe Ty Lue might even end up changing his mind and letting Russ be in the starting lineup and let James Harden come off the bench, even though that might not be the focal point, but it can definitely possibly, turn in that direction. So, I mean, I'm glad to hear that. And like I said, I was glad to see that game where they kind of implemented Kawhi a little bit more, because Kawhi is the best player on this team. Paul George has been playing great. He's been playing, like the better player on this team so far this year. He's had the better, I'll say this, Paul George had the better season so far because he's been coming out and just, taking shots and, just being aggressive, which is good. But, when coaches say be aggressive, they don't always mean take bad shots and, be aggressive. They mean be aggressive as in like find your way and be the best version of yourself you could be. Get to the foul line, take high percentage shots, involve your teammates, be aggressive and let your teammates eat as well as you. You know what I'm saying? That all goes hand in hand. And sometimes I think Paul George gets caught up in scoring and his stats and looking good and things like that. And winning just doesn't come out of it. And like I said, you've seen many nights where Paul George has scored 35 plus points and the Clippers lose. Kawhi scores 26, 28 points and they win. When the offense is going through him, because like I said, he plays with more championship DNA. He plays with more control. He understands that every time his number is called to have the ball in his hands, it doesn't necessarily mean he has to score. Sometimes just because the ball's in your hand, it means you might be able to make a play for the another man on your team to get more of a higher percentage shot. And that's championship DNA. And that's what the Clippers need to run through. That's why I think they need to run the offense more through Kawhi, of course, because not only because he's the better player out of all three of them, but he's the championship player. He's the one who's won a championship. So you need to run your offense through somebody who has more experience championship-wise and who's a great player in their own right, which Kawhi is. And your chances of winning will be a lot better that way, because Kawhi is not going to do nothing out of the sorts. He's going to make the right pass if he needs to and do whatever he has to do to win. And that's what everybody on the team has to have. And, Russell Westbrook is definitely following that trend. And hopefully they can all follow it and keep going and keep, winning as the season goes on. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments and we'll talk about it.